Tayyib. So these, I told you there are three valid opinions, and then there is the not valid, invalid opinion, which is the bid'ah, not my words, Shaykh Salih Al Fawzan, you can look it up, you can listen to his audio. This is the bid'ah of calculations. Calculations is a bid'ah. Using calculations to establish the month of Ramadan or Eid is a bid'ah. Right? Not me. Don't, you can attack me if you want, I don't really care. But it's not me. Look it up. One of the greatest scholars, Hafadahu Allah, may Allah protect him, that is still alive, from the great scholars that have mostly passed away, one of the ones that's alive is Shaykh Salih Al Fawzan. Shaykh Salih Al Fawzan was asked this question, he clearly deemed it a bid'ah. If anybody feels they know better than him, then khalas, they can step up and discuss it with him. But we follow the ulama. And why did he say this is a bid'ah? Because if you look at the evidences in the Quran and the Sahih Hadith and the af'al of the Sahabah, including how to deal with cloudy days and how to deal with sight, all of that is thrown out by those who follow calculations. And one of the fallacies of calculations, one of the lies that is spread by those who want to bring this bid'ah into the ummah, is that we will be united through calculations. So practically, those of us who remember before we had this fitna in America, we had two opinions, and we used to have people fight. Instead of moon sighting, there was moon fighting, right? Whether it was local or global. Now we have three fights. Now we have local, global, and the bid'ah of calculations. At least earlier the fight was between two valid opinions. Now we have a third bid'ah to fight with us. Right? And if we look at, and this is something you can find, there's a website called Arab News, and it was documented from a newspaper. It was also mentioned on Islam QA and other places. You can find documentation of this. The people who wanted to implement calculations, they went to Saudi Arabia, right? And they met with many of the government officials. This was many years ago. And this was documented in the news. And they presented all these models of sighting and how it will be, and calculations and laptops and real fancy stuff. And the Lajna told them, look, we have Bedouins in areas where they regularly sight the moon. And this is something some people criticize Saudi for. Oh, in this place they always sight the moon. Well, that's because they're good at it, right? I mean, astaghfirullah for those who try to accuse people of lying without evidence. It's a very bad thing. People always make accusations. Oh, in Saudi they do it because they'll get like a mishla or something. You think they're that broke? Like they're gonna lie and put the whole ummah in danger for a mishla? Come on, man, right? So these Bedouins, for generations they're excellent at this. And I'm telling you, like my mother-in-law, for example, she lives in a village. She can tell you the time by the sun to like the minute. Like it would be amazing, like 2:35. You're like, wow, man, like minute here and there, but that well. And she could tell you the date by looking at the moon, Islamic dates, and they go by Islamic calendars in the villages, right? She would tell you it's the 15th of Rajab, 16th. You'd be like, hey, that's what my app says. Wow, you're good, right? So those people are used to it. We're not used to it. Only time we care is Ramadan, Eid, and Dhul Hijjah, maybe for Hajj, and that's it, right? So those people and those Bedouins for generations, they know how to sight the moon. So these people with their calculators and their laptops and all these calculation models, they went out, they said, we can guarantee you like this. They told them, look, go out to these people and talk to them. So they went out to the desert and they met the Bedouins. And the Bedouins said, you know what, the moon's going to be there and it's going to rise from this side and from here. They were like, nope, not happening. I have my calculation model. Khalid Shok was, right? So they said, it will not happen. They spent the night, the moon was there. And newspaper reporters documented this, right? Their calculations are wrong. It's a prediction. This is not like, it's not like we're against science. This is not like, you take like a particular color and you put it another color and you get a third color for sure. Okay. No, it's not like that. You are guessing at the ability to see the reflection of the light of the sun hitting the moon, right? There are many factors at play here. Our ability in cities with all these lights is very different than people in deserts. People with good eyesight are different from people with bad eyesight. People with clear skies are different from people with cloudy skies. So this is not like, we're discussing like whether the moon exists or not. Like, this is, as people are like, you hate science. Oh no, it's not that. We follow the Sharia. And many years, I have documented this myself, the European Union of Muslim Scholars came with a different date than ISNA and Finca and Fiqh Council and all those in America did. Well, how did you come with two different dates? Because they had different calculation models. And if you, and I'm focusing on this because it's a bid'ah that we're dealing with. If you want to get further evidence, there's two websites. Go to one's called moonsighting.com, one's called crescentwatch.com. Moon sighting is run by Khalid Shaukat or whatever, that modernist guy, and crescent sighting is run by the people of bid'ah from Zaytuna. But if you go to both of these sites and you look at their calculation models, right? Same month, same day, just look at both, compare them side by side, and they will give you different results of where you can and cannot see the moon. And why is this such a bid'ah? Because people who sight the moon, their sighting gets rejected because of these models, when the Sharia tells us different. And we've had times in San Diego where brothers have sighted the moon, and it was brothers we know and trust that go out all the time, and it was rejected by some people saying it's against the models. Right? And those who establish using the calculation models, many times they start fasting and things when the moon wasn't sighted anywhere in the world. Well, what about the ayat and ahadith? You throw all of it out then. And that's why this is a not valid opinion. Tayyib. What's left? The three other opinions, right? One opinion is regarding sighting of the moon anywhere in the world being binding on the whole world. And this is the mu'tamad opinion of the Hanabila. And this is the well-known opinion of the madhab. And it's a very strong opinion. Why? Because if you look at the general ayat and ahadith about the sighting of the moon, they are am for anywhere. If you see the moon, fast. Right? This is am. We know that not every individual needs to see the moon, because Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma and the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma and other hadith of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. So that would mean that one sighting would be applicable. But those who take the opinion of ikhtilaf al-matr', the difference between the sightings, they bring a hadith that is not marfu'an, not from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but a later time, which is during the khilafah of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, when the moon was sighted in Damashq, and Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma in Medina said, we started fasting, so we're going to continue, right? Meaning of the hadith. And I'm going to go deeper into the hadith later. I'm just giving a general overview right now. So they said, look, these two cities, they took different sightings, so we say every city should have their own, or every area should have. Tayyib, but what is the geographical location of the matla then? Like how wide are you going to go? In America, those who follow this view, they take all of North America, and usually, depending on that year, they will take Central America. Many times they will also take Northern, South America, Hawaii, the Caribbean, all of that. But the dalil they're using is between Damascus and Medina. Khilaf between Medina and Damascus is the dalil, but then their matla is bigger than the whole Middle East. You see the problem? Even though, I mean, it's a good opinion, I like it, but it's not being... So then one of the scholars, may Allah have mercy on him, he passed away, he's in the, I'll just say LA area. He had his own opinion. He said every city for their own in America. Right? But then that's impossible, because in America, no one city other than maybe New York and Chicago and Houston will have that many. I mean, most cities in America are not going to have that many people that go out to begin with. So how are they going to do it? Right? So again, that's not practical, and it doesn't actually follow the evidence either. Tayyib, so now we go back to the first opinion, which is global, which again, there are adillah. But now we get into another problem. When we talk about the earlier times of Sahabah and Tabi'un, and you had one horizon, meaning you're in the Arabian Peninsula, right? It's contradicted, this opinion, by the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, first off, but tayyib, we'll get to that. But the other issue is, we're talking about the Arabian Peninsula. Even when Islam started to spread, you're talking about Iraq, Faras, Sham, which is again still Arabian Peninsula, Egypt, maybe some areas of Northern Africa, but you're still in one geographical location. Tayyib, today, if we start talking about this opinion, how do we implement it? Let's say the people in China don't see the moon, right? It's Muslims in China, May Allah free them and fix their situation. In Fiji, one of the first places where the sun rises, there are Muslims in Fiji. In Japan, in Korea, in Australia, in all these areas, there's Muslims. They don't cite it. Day begins. Now it's going. Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, none of us cite it. Middle East, none of us cite it. North Africa, nobody cites it. Europe, nobody cites it. Hawaii, we cite it. Which it's very practical because again, where does the cycle begin? In the West. Hawaii and the west of America and Peru and these areas west usually have the best chance of citing. Right? So now Hawaii cites it. According to this opinion, now this is binding on China and Fiji. Well, Fiji's already begun the day, they've already prayed Dhuhr, they've already had breakfast. Do you understand? So now, how do you implement this view? You cannot. And that is, well, I mean, you could, but you tell everybody in China, throw up and start fasting, right? That brings me to the third opinion, and I've spent years on this issue, and I've come to take this opinion, which is one of the opinions of the Hanabila, as mentioned Al-Insaf, and this is the opinion of Shaykh Al-Islam Taqiyuddin ibn Taymiyyah, and this opinion says that if you take the evidences and put them together, no doubt when you cite the moon it is applicable, but on those areas where the moon could be cited, meaning that if you cite the moon, west of it will be applicable, but if east of it does not see the moon, and it's very possible that they could not have seen the moon, you cannot make it binding on them. Because ru'ya would not be applicable for those that could have not possibly seen it. And they take the hadith of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma and Muawiyah radiallahu anhu, and they say, okay, let's look at this hadith. If we look at Dimashq, which is Damascus today, and Al-Madinah, Damascus is west of Al-Madinah. If you look at a map, north, west, and Medina is east of it. So Ibn Taymiyyah says that means the sighting in Damashq would not be binding on the people of Medina. That is true because they are east. So they takes this evidence and that evidence and he makes it work together. And from a practical perspective, if Fiji doesn't see it, Japan doesn't see it, Korea doesn't see it, China doesn't see it, then they don't fast. If Saudi or Pakistan, India see it, everybody west has to fast because the sun hasn't come to them yet, or the night hasn't come there yet. So it's very easy. Once it's sighted, everybody west of it is bound by it. Okay? So from an evidence perspective, from bringing different evidences together perspective, from a practical perspective, from all of that, no doubt this is the correct opinion. And we'll end today with this. Jazakumullahu khairan.